This is Exonerated, the Cost of Wrongful Convictions, a podcast from Word Radio. In this limited series, we share the powerful stories of people who spent years and sometimes decades behind bars for crimes they did not commit. We explore their fights to reclaim their freedom and realize justice from a system that punishes them unfairly. These interviews were first broadcast live on Evening Words with Dr. James Peterson and are now presented as a podcast so more listeners can hear directly from those impacted by wrongful convictions. Exonerated is presented in partnership with the Pennsylvania Innocence Project. This podcast is brought to you by Marone Law Firm, standing by your side when it matters most.
Exonerated clients of the Pennsylvania Innocence Project often pursue further relief for their wrongful convictions, which commonly involves engaging in litigation and related discussions with the City of Philadelphia and the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office. Our original planned interviewee, Dante Rollins, is dealing with a legal matter related to his exoneration, and he is unable to be interviewed at this time to best protect his legal interests in these post-exoneration matters. The Pennsylvania Innocence Project has graciously arranged for us to have their client, John Miller, tell his compelling story on tonight's show. John Miller spent 21 years behind bars after being wrongfully convicted in 1988 of second-degree murder, armed robbery, and possession of an instrument of crime, receiving a life sentence without parole. His conviction was largely based on faulty witness testimony. Thanks to the tireless work of the Pennsylvania Innocence Project, John was finally released and exonerated in July 2019. He joins us now to share his incredible story of perseverance and the fight for justice. Let's welcome now to Evening Words for Exonerated, the Cost of Wrongful Convictions, Mr. John Miller. Mr. Miller, welcome to Evening Words here tonight.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, John. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
John, can you talk to us about your story in your own words? I gave a short version of it in our introduction. Tell us your story in your own words.
1997. I was home. In my mother's house. I used to live with my mom. And I just heard all this commotion coming up in my room. Mm-hmm. So when I wake up, I see my father, and I just see a whole bunch of police officers around my bed, telling me to put my clothes on, and, they was taking me in.
Wow.
But I thought it was I was on probation at the time, so I thought it was like a probation violation. So I really thought nothing of it until one of the cops that I knew in the neighborhood, he was telling me that I was going for a homicide.
And that was obviously news to you. Did you say anything in that moment, or you just use your right to remain silent?
I didn't say anything.
And so they came in the middle of the night. They take you out of your home. Do you remember kind of like what were some of the early things when they booked you, when they arranged it? Do you remember kind of what was going through your mind? You knew this was a wrongful arrest in the first place, but what was going through your mind in those early moments after they arrested you?
Well, after they arrested me, they took me down to 8th and Race, and this was in I believe it was in the morning time actually.
Okay.
They took me to 8th and Race. When we get to the booking, they was questioning me about the homicide. I had nothing to give them. I didn't know anything. So I never said anything because I had nothing to tell them.
And then at that time, did you get a public defender at that time? I mean, did you talk to your family at the time and let them know what was the process for you to go through the adjudication part of this story?
Well, yeah, I had a public defender in the beginning. I believe he showed up like once or twice. I got mad that he didn't come visit me in the prison, so I got rid of him, and I had my family hire me a lawyer. And we hired a lawyer by the name of Leon Williams, and he was the one who represented me in my trial.
And did he have enough? Obviously, he didn't have enough information to push back against the wrongful conviction. What was missing, and what did they have that they thought was it one witness that had provided faulty testimony, or multiple witnesses?
It was two.
Do you have any idea?
Yeah, one witness. Both of them. I grew up with them. I grew up with both of them. One of them, he was in some trouble already.
Okay.
He was in. I think he had like 6 robberies or so, something like that. And, he said to the courts that he was trying to, use me as a scapegoat to pin a homicide that he done on me to get himself out of a situation that he was already in.
And the other person who provided false witness, was he just convinced by this other person, or did he?
Well, yeah, the homicide wants to know how did I receive a gun to do the crime.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy, he testified, or he made a statement saying that I received a gun from another individual, and that individual came forward and said that he did lend me a gun, which was inoperable. He named 2 different types of guns he wasn't sure of, and his testimony actually really wasn't meaningful, only to say that I received a gun from him at that time.
But that was also false testimony.
That was false testimony.
And so, obviously, your attorney was not successful in getting you exonerated at that particular moment. Do you remember what happens once you were convicted? Do you remember when you were first being processed after that initial conviction?
After I got convicted?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, far as like, I just know how to get to work.
What do you mean by that? Explain that. Explain that, Mr. Miller. What do you mean you had to get to work?
I mean, I had to fight for my freedom. I had to fight for my life. I ain't had no time to be stressing. I did stress. Don't get me wrong. I had stressful moments, a lot of stressful moments. But I also had moments that I had to be strong. I had to, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't go crazy. I couldn't be insane. I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? I was fighting.
So from the moment you're in, you already know I have to do the work to try to figure out how to get myself exonerated.
It's on, yeah.
So what was that problem? I mean, you said that you couldn't go crazy. How were you managing your mental state? I mean, it's got to be beyond frustrating and painful to be in that certain situation.
I don't know. I get questions. A lot of people ask me that question all the time. I just think it's just something installed inside of me that has me, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I just don't. It's just something that's built inside of myself. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Talk to us about what some of the work was. Were you reading? Were you reaching out to folks? Were you writing letters?
No, I don't do no reading. I don't do none of that reading stuff and writing and all of that. You know what I'm saying? My whole thing was, reading the law books the best that I could. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure out, trying to stay up on these lawyers. That was my main focus. Staying up on my family, just make sure they still all the lawyers, the investigators. You know what I'm saying? I did have moments that, I did have, not to say prison was all bad, because you do have some times where, you could relieve yourself and have fun. You know what I'm saying? You got cars, you got ping pong, you got the yard basketball, football, you got the weights and stuff like that. You know what I mean? To make the time go by. I mean, some people read, some people
exercise, some people write.
Yeah, right.
You're listening to Exonerated on WURD.
Insurance companies have lawyers, shouldn't you? At Marone Law, they fight for people with serious injuries and they deliver big results. From car accidents and catastrophic injuries to medical malpractice and civil rights violations, they fight, they win. You deserve a team that gets results. They've recovered hundreds of millions for their clients and they're ready to fight for you. Marone Law, get justice. Call 215-732-6700 today.
And now back to Exonerated, the cost of wrongful convictions on WURD.
Right. You did more physical things to try to manage your mental for that time.
Not to say, physical, not to say that was all, in the gym really heavy too much, but I was just, I don't know, I was just me. I was just, just me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't, but like I said, I did have stressful moments. I did have, moments where it's I broke down to myself. Now without nobody, seeing me. People that know me, knew that, that did have my stressful moments, but I am also built for it tough, so I'm good. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember like when you got the first break? Like, do you remember when you got the first breakthrough? Was it when the Pennsylvania Innocence Project came on? Was it when one of your lawyers said, "Hey, we have a way to prove your innocence"? Do you remember the first break in your case?
Yeah. Back in 2010 is where Philadelphia Innocence Project took my case. That was my break right there. Because I knew, I ain't have no way, but except once they accepted, they seen something in my case and they took it. So that was like a break for me in my life, in my journey. It makes me to believe that, what I was fighting for, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't for nothing because they saw something.
Did you reach out to them and they said, "Hey, we're going to take your case on," or they reach out to you and say, "Hey, we want to take your case on"?
Funny thing, my mom told me to reach out to them. I didn't want to. You know what I mean? I reached out to another institution and they just kept asking me questions, being newsy to me. I felt like they didn't want to help me. They just asked me questions and it frustrated me, so I just left them alone. I wanted a paid lawyer, you know what I'm saying? So my family was okay. Now I had paid lawyers, so the money started getting funny, and she wanted me to reach out to them, so I reached out to them. They reached back out to me, asked me to send them a few things. I ignored them. Then they reached back out to me again, and they kept requesting from my superior court, I believe. I think that's the first thing they asked me. And then it took me a while to give it to them because I thought it was going to be the same thing as the people I wrote previously.
Right.
But when I sent it to them, they was really up on it. And then,
their response was like they were more about it than the previous organization that you had reached out to.
No question. Yeah.
When you say the money was getting funny, are you saying that the lawyers that your family was paying were not doing what they were supposed to be doing, or what was it that your mom obviously knew that the Innocence Project does good work, but were you having problems with your lawyers prior to that?
No, I had no problems with my lawyers.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. And now once you get going with the Innocence Project, tell us about that process. So they ask for your superior court file, you send it to them. Are you communicating with them regularly? What was?
Yes. There's a lady by the name of Charlotte Whitmore who stayed in contact with me. And she came and seen me and interviewed me, was speaking to me. And we talked, and I think Marissa Bluestein, I believe, was there as well. And we talked, and they told me how interested they were in my case and how they believed in my situation. You know what I'm saying? And this is way before they knew about certain other pieces that came about. You know what I'm saying?
What were some of the other pieces? I mean, in addition, you told them about the faulty testimony. They found other things that were wrong with your case?
Well, the guy, he'd been denying it ever since trial. He never said that I told him I done it, even at trial. He just kept saying he was lying, using me as a scapegoat, even in the courtroom. So they found me guilty off his out-of-court statement.
Wow.
Not his in-court statement. So that's how I got found guilty. And I got home because the Innocence Project found a Brady violation in my case.
What's a Brady violation? I'm not a legal scholar, and some listeners might not know what a Brady violation is, Mr. Miller. What's a Brady violation?
A Brady violation is when the government withhold evidence. And in my situation, there was an individual who was in a situation, and the guy who testified the out-of-court statement against me had made a statement against that individual. I found that out. We found that out, I believe 2016, 17, one of those years. I can't remember. And we used that to let the courts know that, had we known about this here prior to, we could have challenged his credibility. You know what I mean?
And so obviously they had deliberately withheld that because of that important piece of information. We forgot to mention that you're the Pennsylvania Innocence Project's first client. And that must be incredible. Good brother. What advice, would you give to someone who might be listening to this series, who has a loved one or who they themselves are fighting charges that they know, they weren't involved in? What advice would you give someone who's in that struggle right now?
I would say, never give up. Don't quit. Look at others' examples. You know what I mean? Look at my story. Look at my example. How, I never thought that I'll ever get out of jail. Mm-hmm. I thought I'd still be in there, but, I ain't quit. I ain't never give up. No matter how bad things look, you can't quit. It's your life. How can you quit on your life?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Talk about your life a little bit post prison. What's your daily like? What kind of work are you doing? How are you? First, tell us how you felt that first day. When once you're outside of those walls, what was that first day like for you?
I was happy. I was very happy. Yeah, definitely was very happy. Mm-hmm. 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 Just observant, looking around, looking at everything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just ready to get started. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And ready to get started. See, I may say I'm not like one of those people that be like, oh, I got wrong. I was convicted. I was done wrong and boo-hoo. You know what I'm saying? I'm not.
Woe is me. You're not woe is me. No, you're moving forward. Mm-hmm.
I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I got to keep moving. Mm-hmm. If I do that, then if I keep dwelling on that and you know what I'm saying? How can I push forward? How can I grow? You know what I'm saying? I want to grow. I don't want to keep thinking about that. Mm-hmm. I keep thinking about that before it happened. You know what I'm saying? I'm blessed that I'm home. I'm very blessed that I'm home. So I don't dwell on it as much. I'm so happy. Mm-hmm. I'm always smiling. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't do that. Mm-hmm. That's not for me.
I get that probably that way of thinking is probably the best advice for people who are working through some of those things. Talk a little bit though about how you've been moving forward since you've been out.
Well, right now I'm an investor. I build houses from the ground up. Mm-hmm. I have one now in Maryland right now, and I just sold.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you. They just seen a blueprint and they decided they wanted, so sold that to them. Mm-hmm. I also have another agency. It's called Avella Human Services. Mm-hmm. Whereas we take care of people who have autism and some type of disability. Mm-hmm. I have a trucking company. Mm. Mm-hmm. So
did you come out and say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and you just started building these businesses as you came out, or were you already thinking about these things even before you went in?
I'm a hustler. Mm-hmm. I've always been a hustler. Even before I came to prison, before I even went to jail, I was a hustler. Mm-hmm. So there was nothing for me to, I had to learn everything, had to get some help and everything, but I already knew what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Have you had an opportunity to kind of reconnect with your family by now? You've been out for a while. What's that process been like in terms of reconnecting with your family? Did you go back to your old neighborhood? I see you smiling, so go ahead.
Yeah, only because I reconnect with my family. Yeah, I have a big family. It's just I feel like an outcast. Like I don't know nobody. Meaning like they're kids, they grown, they got kids. You know what I'm saying? I got to know who they is, and they got to know me. That's the difference. They look at me like I'm weird.
That's part of the work. Your family has grown. You were in there for a couple of decades, so it's a whole generation there.
Yeah, well, I gotta. I hold my family down, so they look at me. So I got to be. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You have to do some of the things that you're doing. What got you into the working with people with disabilities? That's not easy work, good brother.
That's a good question. Well, I always like to help people, the elderly and stuff like that. Cause my grandmother, I used to do that with my grandma before she passed away. She used to have seizures when I was a kid. Mm. And every time she used to have seizures, I used to cry. Then I used to man, I can't keep crying. I got to do something about it. Mm-hmm.
It's scary. Yeah. It's very scary when a close family member of yours has, for people who don't know, if you ever had a family member who had a seizure in front of you, that can be a terrifying, especially for a child. Yes.
Yeah. And so they used to tell me, put her on the side, put a spoon in her mouth so she won't bite her tongue and this, that. And I was doing this since I ain't doing myself. I was watching since the 80s, the late 80s and stuff. Mm-hmm. And, And I was always call her, you take your medication. I don't want to say I have another episode. You take your medication, you do this, you do that. And I always and so always, even in the prisons, you know, I always talk to the people that's older and elderly and help them out, you know. Mm-hmm. So I got a compassion heart for that, you know. So that's my thing. Yeah.
No, that's good work, brother. Do you do any work with prisons now? Do you go back and talk to anybody or do any work with the Pennsylvania Innocence Project in that sense now?
To be honest with you, in the beginning, I didn't want to. I didn't know because I spent 22 years in prison, right? And so it's like, if I see someone I know he was in prison with me, and I mean, it's like you got that same smell, you know what I mean? We got that same, you know what I mean? That talk, that lingo, that I don't want to get away from that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be near it. I mean, I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
No apology necessary, bro. No apology necessary.
I just want to go this way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No apology necessary for that, brother. Good brother. I was just asking, especially because again, you're the first for the Pennsylvania Innocence Project, which I know that's something they talk about a lot, and they're very obviously proud and excited that they had an opportunity to work with you. And help you out there. Brother John, what did we miss anything in this interview? I want to make sure that your story is I know that sometimes people ask you questions, a lot of questions annoying to you. I don't want to annoy you anymore, but did we miss anything in your story?
Excuse me?
Did we miss anything in your story over the course of this conversation?
Not that I know of. Did you ask me anything?
I asked all bro, let me tell you something. Given what you have accomplished in your life, I have a million questions for you. Okay. I have a million questions, but I don't want to, we have a few minutes or a couple of minutes left here. I just want to make sure from your perspective that you told your story is the point.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, Godspeed to you, good brother. Congratulations on your success, especially congrats on selling that blueprint, that house. I love that.
Thank you.
We love a good story. And we also, listen, we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to share your story with our audience and with our listeners. We really do.
You've been listening to Exonerated, The Cost of Wrongful Convictions, a Word Radio podcast produced in partnership with the Pennsylvania Innocence Project. To learn more about the Pennsylvania Innocence Project and their work to free the wrongfully convicted and support their reentry, visit painnocence.org. Exonerated is brought to you by Marone Law Firm, standing by your side when it matters most. For more programming like this, tune into Word Radio at 900 AM or 96.1 FM or online at wordradio.com. And don't forget to follow this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Word Radio, progressive Black Talk Media.